Hope and Shadows, Chapter 3, Sometimes Love Hurts a Lot, by Stephen Little. My Little Pony and all associated characters are copyright by Hasbro. Garnet slowly walked away from the farm, his friends trailing behind him. No pony knew what to say to console the purple unicorn. Dawn flew down and landed in front of him. "Hey, Garnet, I just wanted to apologize for the way I acted. I shouldn't have behaved the way I did." The unicorn stallion looked up at her with tears in his eyes, then walked past her without a word. The others caught up with a rather confused-looking Dawn. "Okay, what happened? I know I acted rather thoughtlessly, but was it that bad?" "It's not you, sister. He's having some problems with Apple Bloom," Dusk said as he explained the events of the last hour. Jato, in his usual lack of tact, rushed up and flew backwards in front of him. "Hey, bud, buck her. There's all sorts of mess around, I'm sure." Before he could finish his thought, Garnet had grabbed him by the tail and held him to the ground. Bringing his face inches from Jato's, steam billowed out of his nose. "Get this straight, all of you," he shouted, looking at Dawn in particular. "There is only one mare for me, and she just drop-kicked my heart into a garbage can. If it's the last thing I do, I'm going to prove to her that I'm not a little colt anymore." Garnet walked over the Pegasus and continued down the road. Honey ran over to Jato, helping him off the ground. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine. What the buck is his problem?" Dusk sat next to the two ponies. "You two don't understand. Garnet has been in love with her since before either of you were born. He's heartbroken, but resolute in going after the mare he loves. As for Apple Bloom, she's displaying the classic signs of the fallen lover's conflict. She has feelings for Garnet, but is guilt-ridden over the hurt she caused every pony when she ran away. She feels undeserving of any kind of genuine affection, and so she pushes away any pony who tries to get close." The two younger ponies stared at him. "Ouch! I feel like I just got slapped with a psychology book." Jato replied, "Seriously, our mother is Princess Twilight. Do you think we could grow up without memorizing most of the books in the library?" Dawn asked him. "You guys, what are we going to do about those two? They're both super sad." Honey was staring to tear up. Dusk patted her head with a wing. "Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do, except make sure Garnet doesn't go to do something stupid to prove himself to her. Apple Bloom is probably talking to her sister at the moment. Applejack is a good pony. She'll come up with something, I'm sure of it." After shutting the door on Garnet and his friends, Apple Bloom galloped away crying and ran into her sister. "Apple Bloom, are you okay? What happened?" her sister asked. "I don't want to talk about it," she said, wiping her eyes. "Heck no. All this heartbreak and hurt feelings started with you not talking to us about your problems. I'll be bucked if I let that happen again. You turn yourself around, Missy, and get to the kitchen table." Applejack's tone of voice left no room for argument. Apple Bloom slowly walked into the kitchen and saw Rarity sitting at the table, drinking coffee. The Yellow Earth pony panicked and tried to gallop out of the room, but was again stopped by her sister. "Please, Applejack, don't make me go in there." "Get in there and sit down. She has every right to be here." Apple Bloom reluctantly sat at the kitchen table, but could not bring herself to look at Rarity in the eyes. "It seems you were plenty busy last night. I was plumb worried about you, little sis, when I got up and found you not in your room. Instead, I found this on the table." Applejack slid a scroll in front of her. Unrolling it, she read every word in horror. Garnet told her sister everything. Thanks Celestia, he left out the details. Her memory was still a little foggy, but she knew what she did. Apple Bloom gulped and looked at her sister. "I take it you both read this?" "Indeed we have," Rarity said. "To say the least, I'm shocked. I'm shocked that Garnet didn't take you up on your offer, considering how big of a crush he has on you." Apple Bloom's jaw hung open. "What? I don't think I heard you correctly. You're not mad at me?" "It's okay, sis. We understand what happened. Caramel told me what you two spoke of last night, and I figured you was feeling pretty bad about it all. Big Macintosh ain't gonna like that you drank 4 bottles of apple bourbon, but he'll get over it." "Did you know you were in season when you started drinking?" Rarity asked her. "No, I guess I started some time after I had a bit. I'm sorry, Applejack. I shouldn't have gone off on my own last night. I just needed time to think. I don't know how Garnet got there, but I just couldn't control myself. I'm sorry, Rarity. I didn't mean to behave like that in front of your son." "It's quite all right, dear. Garnet is his own pony. I think it's cute that you've hit it off with him." "What?" Applejack was shocked at the statement. "You do care about him, don't you? It's practically stamped on your face," Rarity said. Applebloom could feel the hot blush rising in her cheeks. I don't know. It doesn't matter anymore anyway. I told Garnet to leave me alone. He can do much better than me. I doubt he'd want anything to do with me now." "Why would you do such a thing?" Rarity asked her. "If you like each other, why wouldn't you see where the relationship could take you?" "Because I'm 12 years older than him, and besides, I'd only end up hurting him again." "Again? What are you talking about, sis?" Applejack asked. Applebloom told them about hearing Garnet talk in his sleep, the things he said, and what she did to try and comfort him. "I couldn't hurt him like that again. I think it's best if he just forgets about me." "I remember him having that nightmare. He used to have it every night, and we had to comfort him until he quieted down and went back to sleep," Rarity sighed. "After his second attempt to go after you, we decided to let him stay in Appaloosa for a while with Brayburn's parents. That's where he got his cutie mark, actually." "Really?" Applebloom asked. "Yes. He helped Sheriff Silverstar find a thief, and he discovered his aptitude for detective work. He studied with the sheriff for 5 years before coming back to Ponyville," Rarity explained. "I'm not going to lie to you, Applebloom. You hurt him a lot when you left Just, and you can hardly be blamed. He kept his feelings to himself. Not even Sweetie Belle knew how big of a crush he had on you. One last thing, darling. You shouldn't worry about the age difference. You're both adults." "Think about it this way, sis. In a few years, you're all gonna stop aging, just like me and Big Macintosh. After a few more years, Garnet will catch up with you, and then what will you do?" Applejack asked. "But we don't know anything about each other," she protested. "Darling, I'm his mother. I can tell you anything you want to know," Rarity offered. "Okay, Diamond told me he blows actual steam out of his nose when he gets upset. Is that true?" "Yes, it is true, but not only when he gets upset. When he gets flustered or embarrassed, it kind of leaks out of him on its own accord," Rarity confirmed. "Can he breathe fire?" Applebloom asked, growing more interested. "Not that I'd ever seen, but his father is a dragon." The white unicorn thought for a moment, then continued her answer. "I suppose it might be possible, but I have no idea what would possibly get him too upset as to breathe fire." Before Applebloom could ask another question, Jato came crashing through the front door. "Jato, didn't your parents ever teach you all to knock?" Applejack asked him. The young Pegasus colt was breathing hard, and he gasped out his message. "Garnet, in trouble. Schoolhouse, under attack. Hydra, come quick!" Applebloom grabbed the young Pegasus and held him in front of her by the scruff of his neck. "What happened exactly?" Jato gulped as he looked into the determined eyes of the older mare. "The Hydra from Froggy Bog Bottom was sighted in the river next to the schoolhouse. The colts and fillies were evacuated, but Garnet ran towards the river by himself. Dusk flew to Canterlot to get his mothers, and Dawn is flying around town trying to get the other holders of the Elements of Harmony to the river." Applebloom dropped the colt to the ground and ran out the door towards her old schoolhouse. Trying hard to keep up with her was a concerned sister, a frantic mother, and a worn-out Pegasus. Applebloom galloped frantically towards her old schoolhouse. It had been years, but she still remembered the way. Running through the deserted playground, she made her way towards the river. Garnet's hoofs were crunching up the ground as he battled violently to control the Hydra with his binding spell. The yellow mare ran up and slapped him upside the head. "What in Celestia's name are you doing?" she yelled at him. "Are you trying to get yourself killed?" "What do you care?" he shouted back, steam billowing out from his nostrils. The Hydra lifted a clawed foot from the river and placed it on the bank. I don't have time to yell at you right now. If we don't take care of my little pet here, it's going to wreck Ponyville," she said, turning her attention to the Hydra. "That thing is your pet?" the purple unicorn asked. "Look, it's a long story," she tried to explain. "And I'd love to hear it sometime. Any ideas on how to stop it?" he asked. Dawn returned with Pinky, Brayburn, Spike, Caramel, Macintosh, Rainbow Dash, and Soren. "I have no idea where Fluttershy is, but geez, Jato, if I knew you were only going to get 2 of them, I'd have done it myself," Dawn reprimanded the younger Pegasus. "First things first, we need to get him completely out of the water," Applebloom explained to the group. "Jato, Rainbow, Soren, do you 3 think you can annoy him enough to get him to follow you?" "Sure thing, AB," Jato said, flying towards the creature. Rainbow Dash and Soren rushed after the sun, doing their best to avoid the creature's snapping jaws. The Hydra became increasingly annoyed with the Pegasi flying around its heads and started to follow them as they slowly led it from the water. Dusk appeared next to them after a dark blue flash of magic. "Where are your mothers, Dusk? You were supposed to get them," Dawn chided. "I looked everywhere. They weren't in the palace or anywhere in Canterlot. I teleported back to you guys just to get her here as soon as I could," he explained, exhausted. Garnet rushed at the creature, trying to use his binding spell on its legs. One of the creature's heads saw him coming and kicked out with his left foot, causing a horrible laceration down Garnet's side. Applebloom rushed over to the fallen unicorn, kneeling beside him. "Are you okay?" Not wanting to look weak in front of her, he pushed her away and slowly got to his hoofs. I'm fine. What do you want us to do now?" "Rainbow, can you guys fly around in circles above its head?" Rainbow Dash saluted, and the 3 Pegasus began circling around the Hydra's head. Completely focused on the flying blue ponies, the Hydra's 4 heads followed them around in a circle, twisting its necks together. "Okay, Garnet, use a binding spell on his 4 necks. Bind them together so he can't move them separately. Dawn, Dusk, Rarity, try to help him." "I don't need their help. I can do it myself." Garnet concentrated hard, binding the Hydra's 4 necks together. "Garnet, this is no time to show your father's stubbornness," Rarity reprimanded. "Hey!" Spike shouted. "I'm fine, Mother. I'm strong enough to deal with this," the injured unicorn shouted. The Hydra's 4 legs strained hard against him, but Garnet was able to keep them together. "Anything else?" he asked. "Applejack, do you still have that lasso with you?" "I always do, sis. What do you want me to do?" "See if you can lasso that thing around the top of his necks. After that, I need you and Big Macintosh to bring it down to your level," Applebloom said. Her sister swung her lasso, and, like always, hit its target. The loop tightened around the Hydra's neck, but Garnet's binding spell was starting to weaken. "Dusk, Dawn, Rarity, I don't care what he says. Use your magic to bind the Hydra's necks and legs. We can't have it getting loose." Applejack and Macintosh gave the rope a sharp tug, but the Hydra was still fighting them. "Once more this time, honey. I want you and your parents to charge its left side with Spike and Caramel and ram your shoulders into him. He's bound and can't hurt you, but we need as much force and to try and bring him down." "You got it, Applebloom," Brayburn said. Once again, Applejack and Macintosh pulled on the rope hard. With the others ramming it from the other side, they quickly had the Hydra down. Applebloom walked up to the bound heads and lightly kicked one of their noses with her forehoof. "Howdy, Frank. Now, I remember the last time we tussled, I told you not to bother ponies anymore. So, what are you doing here?" The Hydra's voice was quiet. "Swamp. Dry. Need water," Frank hissed out. "Is that all? You didn't come here to start trouble with the school?" Frank shook his head. "No. I suppose I can wallop you for that. Hey, Rainbow, do you think the weather team can get some rain over to Froggy Bog Bottom? It seems the summer's been drying up the swamp over that way." "No problem. We can get water there in no time at all," she said. "All right, Frank. We're gonna let you go, but next time, try not to scare every pony out half of their wits." The binding spell around him began to fade, while Applejack retrieved her lasso. "Okay," he said as he moved off toward the swamp. Applejack walked up to her sister. "Did I hear call you that critter Frank?" "Yes, I gave the name to him after the last time we got into it. A couple of years ago, I found myself traveling through that part of the forest when I found him chasing a pony that had gotten too close to the swamp. I had to put him down a little hard. The one that gave him that scar over his right eye on his far left head. He seemed to pay attention to me after all. Kind of like a puppy. He was always following me around until I left the swamp area. He's pretty attached to it." "You were that close to Ponyville, and you never bothered to stop by and let us know you were okay?" Applejack shouted. "Sorry, AJ, but I wasn't ready to come back, and if I even showed my face around here, you would have kept me from leaving again," Applebloom said in her own defense. "You're darn right I would. I'd have tied you up in the cider cellar if that's what it took."
"Easy now, AJ,"
Big Mac said, placing a hoof on his sister's shoulder. "Garnet, dear, are you all right?" Rarity asked her son. "I'm fine, Mother. I just need to sit down for a minute." Applebloom walked over to the purple unicorn. Garnet just smiled at her. "Told you I could handle it by myself. Who's the fool now, huh?" he said, collapsing to the ground, revealing the long gash down his left side. Without saying a word, Applebloom wriggled under him, trying to get him on her back. Looking over at Dawn and Dusk, she spoke in an irritated tone. "Would you mind helping me out here, or do you enjoy watching him bleed to death?" The two alicorns levitated him more securely on her back. "I'm heading to the hospital. Follow if you want." Macintosh raced beside the mare as she headed toward town.
"You want me to take him, sis? He's a mite big for someone with your small frame."
"I've got it, Macintosh. He's not that heavy. Besides, he's in this mess because of me. I owe it to him to make sure he's okay." The entire party of ponies and one dragon raced behind Applebloom. Crashing through the doors of the emergency room, Applebloom yelled out to any pony within earshot. "We need help here! This pony is hurt badly!" Two ponies rushed out with a gurney between them. "Ease him on here. We'll take it after that. What happened?" one of them asked. "Our son was injured by a hydra," Spike informed them. "Teeth or claws?" the other one asked. "He took the gash from the claws," Dusk said. "Does that matter?" "We'll have to see what the doctor says. Please wait here. The doctor will be out as soon as she's done examining him." For what seemed like hours, the ponies waited. On one side of the room, most of the ponies and Spike were talking with each other, speculating on Garnet's condition. Off in one corner of the room, Applebloom sat alone with her own thoughts. Solitude can oftentimes be cold counsel. Applebloom looked at the speaker in shock. Julian, what are you doing here?" "Ditsy and I are here for a checkup. We learned recently that she is pregnant, and we wanted to make sure everything was going well," he said, smiling. "I heard what happened, and I saw you here by yourself. Don't blame yourself for what happened." "How can I? If it weren't for me, he'd be fine right now. He did it because of me," she said, slowly slipping back into a southern accent. "Of course it was because of you. Your friends told me what happened when they brought you home this morning. He felt he needed to prove himself to you. But that's not what I wanted at all. I knew if he stayed around me, he'd get hurt again. I push him away, and he still gets hurt. Why do I do this to every pony? I should have just stayed on the road and let every pony think I was dead." "Don't say things like that. You have no idea what that would have done to your siblings if they hurt you. I should know. You can't understand how guilty I felt after you left." "Why would you feel guilty? You had nothing to do with it. You're just as innocent as Garnet is." "Not entirely. If I still had the TARDIS, I could have located you in seconds, and this would never have happened. But I sent the TARDIS away to prove my love for Ditsy and show her I'd never leave." Julian saw the confused look on her face. "Let me fill you in on a little secret. Stallions are stupid. We do some of the most idiotic, ridiculous, and incredibly embarrassing things to prove ourselves to the ponies we love without really thinking it through. That's what happened to Garnet. He was so determined to prove himself to you that he got into a situation that was more than he can handle. Oh, here comes Fluttershy." As she was entering the waiting room, all eyes moved to the yellow Pegasus dressed in a lad coat, holding Garnet's medical chart. Every pony in the waiting room crowded around her.
"How is he, dear?"
Macintosh asked her. "Well, I have good news and bad news. The good news is that we've stopped the bleeding and the laceration has been closed. The bad news is that he's continuing to get weaker. We don't know what's causing it. Other than the cut on his side, there doesn't seem to be anything physically wrong with him. He's just slipping away. I'm sorry." "How long does he have?" Spike asked. "Hard to say. We've never seen anything like this before. It could be weeks, a few days, or a matter of hours. "I'm sorry, we just don't know," Fluttershy apologized. "If you want, you can go see him. He's awake, but try not to overexcite him." The group of ponies and Spike followed Fluttershy while Rarity walked over to where Applebloom was sitting. "Come on, dear. I know Garnet would like to see you. Don't worry, we'll figure something out. Spike has already sent a letter to the princesses. I'm sure they'll be here soon." When they entered the room, Rarity and Applebloom found Garnet lying in bed with the others gathered around him. Applebloom walked up to the bed while Rarity took her place next to her husband. "Hey there, beautiful. I showed that Hydra a thing or two, didn't I?" "Yes, you did," she said, trying not to cry. "Why did you do it, Garnet? You stupid, bald-headed, stubborn pony. Why didn't you let us help? After you were injured, you should have stayed out of the fight. Why'd you push yourself so hard?" The other ponies in the room looked at Rarity and Spike. Are they really going to let her berate their son like that? They all thought. Spike simply shook his head at them. He knew what was happening. "I did it for you, Bloom. I love you. I wanted you to know that no matter what, I would never stop loving you. I thought if I could prove to you that I wasn't a fool anymore, you'd at least like me back." Garnet's eyes closed, and his head fell to the side. "Garnet? Garnet!" Applebloom shook the pony as she started to panic. "Don't be dead! Please don't be dead!" Many of the ponies in the room began to weep over their friend. "He's not dead. He's only unconscious. He's not dead. He's only unconscious." They all turned at the same time, looking at the three ponies entering the room. "Princess Celestia, Princess Luna, Princess Twilight!" they all shouted in unison. "I'm sorry we couldn't be here sooner. We had an emergency in Huffington, and we had to just returned when we got Spike's letter," Twilight explained. "What's wrong with him?" Applebloom asked. "It seems his magic is very low and slowly getting lower," Celestia informed them. "We noted his low magic levels, but that shouldn't be having this effect on him. Lots of unicorns run out of magic, and after a few days' rest they're back to normal. None of my studies ever said anything about this," Fluttershy said.
"Do you ponies ever listen to anything I say?"
"Discord! What do you know about this, and why are you back early? You said you wouldn't return for another 100+ years," Twilight demanded. The Draconis materialized out of a mirror hanging on the far wall.
"I had to return. I couldn't let either of these ponies die. They're far too important. I warned you ponies that you were all connected. Not just your life force, but your strength and, more importantly, your weaknesses as well."
"What are you trying to say? What's wrong with him?" Applebloom demanded.
"Ah, Applebloom, you certainly have grown. What I'm saying is he's dying. He's nearly out of magic, and when that happens, he will die."
Applebloom slammed him against the wall. "Fix it! I know you have the power. If you can make all of us immortal, then you can fix this." Discord pushed her away and straightened his fur.
"Contrary to popular belief, I'm not all-powerful. My magic is not compatible with his. Neither is alicorn magic. He needs unicorn magic, and quite a bit of it. Celestia, you being the most powerful creature in Equestria, you can gather the necessary energy from the unicorns. I can channel it, but I need a conduit into Garnet. It can't come straight from Celestia or myself. I need some ponies that are as close to him as possible. I need some ponies that can touch his heart as well as his mind."
"I'll do it," Spike said.
"Weren't you listening? You're a dragon. I said pony,"
Discord huffed.
"The one I need is you,"
he said, pointing at Applebloom. "Me? But surely there must be some pony closer to him than me. I don't even like him." The Draconis smiled at her.
"You're just like your sister, a terrible liar."
Discord leaned down and whispered in her ear.
"I know how you feel for him. You are the only one who can do this."
Applebloom looked deeply into the red and yellow eyes of the Lord of Chaos and could find nothing but sincerity reflected back at her. "Fine. What do I need to do?"
"First, get up here on the bed."
Discord effortlessly lifted her onto the next bed next to Garnet.
You're going to have to get very close to him. There has to be a maximum amount of contact as possible,"
Applebloom lay down next to Garnet and wrapped her hoofs around him, hugging the stallion to her tightly. "Is this okay?" she asked, blushing violently.
"Perfect. Now I must warn you, this is going to hurt a lot. Your body is not designed nor conditioned to have a constant stream of magic running through it. Luna, Twilight, I need you to do your best to heal her throughout the process."
"How do we know this isn't just another trick?" Celestia questioned.
"Must we go through this again? You know how taxing it is for me just to be serious. You're boring by nature, so I doubt you'd understand," he said, smiling. "Now, do you want to argue about our failed love life, or do you want to save this boy before it's too late?"
"Fine, I'll do it," Princess Celestia said, blushing as deeply as Applebloom. Closing her eyes, her horn began to glow. Across Equestria, unicorns could hear Princess Celestia plead with them to give up a portion of their magic to help Garnet.
"All right, Applebloom, I'm going to allow you to enter Garnet's subconscious. We will be able to hear everything you two say, so when you're ready, I'll start the flow of magic."
"Okay, I'm ready." Discord put a single claw on her head, and she passed out next to Garnet, her head resting on his chest. Applebloom blinked her eyes a few times, trying to clear her mind. She wasn't in the hospital anymore. Instead, she found herself in what appeared to be a very crowded library. "Garnet? Garnet, are you here?"
"What do you want? Why are you here?"
"Garnet, I can't find you. Where are you?"
"I'm right here,"
he said, appearing behind her. Applebloom turned around surprised. "What is this place, Garnet? The last thing I remembered, I was in the hospital." "This is my memory library. You're in my head, though I don't know how you got here. A long time ago, Princess Twilight taught me this trick of organizing my thoughts and memories so they could easily be recalled and accessed. I had some memory problems when I was younger." Applebloom filled him in on what happened after he passed out in the hospital. "That's not possible. My magic reserves are just fine. Here, I'll show you." She followed Garnet through the cluttered library, passing through multiple bookshelves and filing cabinets. Looking at the books on the shelves, she read the titles: Math, Cooking Directions, Spitballs for Beginners. Each book described a memory or a skill that he learned growing up. Not looking where she was going, she bumped into a filing cabinet. Looking at the label it read, Law Enforcement. The next one to it was labeled Friends and Family. She looked away from the cabinet to meet Garnet's eye. "Sorry, I didn't mean to be so nosy." "It's okay. I want to show you this," he said, indicating a door on the wall. Garnet opened the door and allowed her to walk in. Applebloom walked into a room lit brightly like an auditorium. Everywhere along the walls were candle sconces, in between the numerous pictures of Applebloom. Each picture was different, and they ranged in age from when she was a teenager to that day. Even a picture of what she looked like when under the influence of the black thorn creeper. "What is this place, Garnet?" Garnet scuffed the floor with a hoof. "This is my heart. Not many ponies get to show the mare they care about what they hold in their heart. I couldn't pass up the opportunity. You mean so much to me, and now I get to show you. You've always been here. Even when you left for all those years, you were always here." Applebloom was blushing so hard her coat looked almost the same red as her mane. "Shouldn't we check those levels?" "Of course, the Gorg is right over here." He led her to what looked like a furnace. "See, the Gorg reads full." "That's odd. The furnace is almost cold. That doesn't make sense." Applebloom reached up and tapped the Gorg lightly. They both watched the arrow drop from full to almost empty. "You see? Almost empty. I'm here to help recharge your magic before—" "Before what?" "If you don't recharge your magic soon, you'll die. I was sent in to act as a conduit for the magic. Princess Celestia is gathering it from all the unicorns in Equestria. Discord is going to channel it into me and then into you." "Is it safe?" "I mean, you're an Earth pony. Your body isn't used to having magic in it." "Discord said it would hurt, but I don't care as long as it will save you." Applebloom tackled him to the ground and embraced him, wrapping all 4 of her hooves around him tightly. "Now, Discord, do it now!" The Lord of Chaos heard Applebloom call out. Using a single talon, he reopened the scar on her flank, causing it to bleed. He placed his claw over the cut and grabbed Celestia's horn with his paw. Concentrating hard, he allowed the unicorn magic to flow from the Solar Princess through his body and into Applebloom. The yellow Earth Pony screamed in pain as the energy coursed through her. Luna and Twilight tried as hard as they could to keep up with the severe damage being done to her body. Inside his mind, Garnet cringed as Applebloom cried out in pain. He watched as parts of her appeared to scorch, as if burned by fire, only to heal again. "Applebloom, stop this! Don't do this! We can find a better way," Garnet wept. "Discord, Princess, if you can hear me, stop this!" "Don't listen to him, Discord!" the yellow farm pony cried out in anguish. "Finish it, no matter what! Don't you dare stop!" Garnet watched the mare burst into flame, only to grow back again. He tried to push her off him to break the connection, but she just held on tighter and tighter. Back in the hospital, the various couples held on to each other as they watched the horrific scene playing out in front of them. Fluttershy consoled her husband. Big Macintosh could only close his eyes tightly, placing his hooves over his ears, trying to block out the screams coming from his youngest sister. Applejack and Caramel walked over and hugged the stallion, trying to comfort him. No pony was hurt more than when she was left, and the thought of losing his sister again was becoming too much for him. Around the bed, Garnet's friends could only watch as he seemed to glow with vitality, while Applebloom's hide and skin would burn, crack, and gape open, exposing worse injuries below. The magic was coursing through the Earth Pony like lightning, burning her from the inside out. The pony crowded around the injured ponies could only sit helplessly and watch as Applebloom developed terrible injuries, only to be healed as quickly as they arrived. Dusk turned to his sister. "You still think she's selfish and only cares about herself?" Dawn shook her head, tears freely falling from her eyes as she watched the horrifying event in front of her. "No, after this I will never doubt her again. Any pony who would suffer that kind of torture to save some pony else deserves nothing but respect and admiration." Discord finally released Celestia and placed his paw over his claw and pushed the last of the magical energy through Applebloom and into Garnet. Passing his paw and claw over her flank, he erased the injury he inflicted and the scars that were tarnished her flanks for so many years.
"That should do it. There's nothing more any of us can do. We just have to wait and hope both of them make it through."
"Where will you go now? Back to your realm?" Luna asked him.
"No, the journey between realms requires a vast amount of magical energy, and I've already expended too much getting here and helping these two. I'll need to rest up a bit and to recover my strength. Until then, I'll be residing at my old home. I've sort of missed it. If you need to contact me, just ask Celestia. She knows where I live."
Discord walked over to where the rest of the Apple family was huddled around Macintosh.
"I'm sorry for that. It was not my intention to cause any of you further harm. I can understand if my apology sounds hollow, but it is what it is. Your sister will be fine as long as she gets the rest she needs."
With a small wink to Celestia, Discord snapped his fingers and vanished. Garnet held onto Applebloom for what seemed like an eternity. He glanced up at his magical gog that now read full, the furnace in the corner blazing with heat. Looking back to the mare in his arms, he stared at the pristine yellow coat and her silken mane that lay draped elegantly across her neck and spilled out against the floor like a crimson waterfall. He marveled at the fact that despite the horrendous injuries he witnessed inflicted upon her, there wasn't a mark on her beautiful frame. Whatever damage was caused by the magic had been healed. The screaming, he knew he would never get the sound of her screaming out of his head. He made a mental note to find that memory and bury it in the furthest corner of his library when things had calmed down. "Applebloom, are you okay?" Applebloom stirred slowly. "Garnet, did it work?" she asked weakly. "Are you going to be okay now?" Garnet pointed over to the furnace and the gog. "Yes, you healed me. Without you, I'd be lost, but everything is going to be okay." Applebloom hugged him tightly. "Garnet, I've treated you so badly, haven't I?" "Don't be silly," he said with a smile. The yellow earth pony nuzzled deeply into his chest. "I'm sorry, Garnet. You've been nothing but caring and supportive, and I've repaid your kindness with cruel words and thoughtless actions. You can do better than me, Garnet, and I wish you'd understand that." "Are you serious? Applebloom, you just risked your life for me. What more could any stallion ask for?" "Yeah, but I'm the one that got you into this mess in the first place," she argued. "And I'm the one who fell in love with you in the first place. Applebloom, you made a mistake 17 years ago, and you've been punishing yourself for it ever since you came back. No one blames you but you, and maybe Dawn, but she'll get over it. The point is, I love you." "I'm sorry, Garnet. I can't say that I love you. The truth of it is, most ponies in my memories of you are when you were a small child. You know almost everything about me, and while you've seen me at my worst, I know nearly nothing about you and the pony you grew into," she explained. "But if you're willing to be patient with me, I'd like to get to know you better." "I'm willing if you are, but right now, however, you have to go back. You have to return to your own mind and the waking world," Garnet said. "Will you be there when I wake up?" she asked. "Yes, I will be there waiting for you," Garnet said, kissing her lightly on the cheek. Applebloom smiled and snuggled against him. As much as both of them wanted it to last, the link was broken, and Applebloom slowly drifted away from Garnet's mind and back into her own. Blinking her eyes, Applebloom woke up to find herself back in the hospital, lying next to a smiling Garnet. "I told you I'd be waiting for you." Applebloom smiled and wrapped her forelegs around him in a tight embrace. The ponies gathered in the room smiled as they watched the two ponies happily sitting in bed, their hooves wrapped around each other. It took the yellow earth pony a moment to realize her flanks had healed, and were now graced with a cutie mark of her own. She was a protector, just like Garnet. 3 days had passed since Discord's return. Garnet was still in the hospital, but was scheduled to be released later that day. Applebloom was racing through town that sunny morning, headed for the Carousel Boutique in panic. Knocking on the door, she was relieved to have it answered by Rarity. "Darling, are you okay? You look an absolute mess." "Rarity, I don't know what to do. Garnet's getting out of the hospital, and I sort of want to look nice for him, but I can't do anything with my mane. I've always had it tied back with a bow, or just let it hang loose. What am I going to do?" Rarity smiled in her motherly way. "Come in, and we'll see what we can do." Rarity led her back into the boutique to the styling corner. She had her sit in a chair and leaned her back so her neck rested against the sink. Rinsing her mane down, Rarity began to wash it using the best shampoos and conditioners. "I think it's sweet that you want to look nice for Garnet. I'm sure he will appreciate the gesture." "I just want to look my best around him. I don't know why. A few days ago I couldn't have cared less about what I looked like, but for some reason I feel self-conscious." "It's called love, darling. I was the same way when I first started a relationship with Spike. Everyone always said I looked my best, but for some reason I felt I had to do something special just for him. I tried different mane styles, clothes, anything I could think of, but it turns out Spike was attracted to me just the way I was. I'm sure Garnet feels the same way. He and his father are so much alike." "I suppose you're right, but I haven't looked my best in a very long time. It's time I started acting like I want to be in this town and try to put that part of my past behind me." "Well said, my dear." Rarity led her back from the sink and to a bench where Rarity could have full access to her mane and tail. The white unicorn began to cut and trim her mane when another question crossed her mind. "Applebloom, I'm sorry to ask, but I must simply know. Why did you do it? Why did you put yourself through so much pain and suffering for Garnet?" "I remember a long time ago when Princess Luna and Twilight first got together. Pinkie held a party for her after Princess Luna got Brayburn to come to town." "Yes, I remember that party. Pinkie was so cute wearing Brayburn's hat." "That's the one. Remember what Luna said about love having elements just like friendship? The last one always stuck with me. At any time you may be called upon to sacrifice to protect the ones you love. I never forget that lesson, and when Garnet was on the verge of dying, I had to do something, even if it meant being hurt." Rarity sat back from her, tears in her eyes. "I never thanked you for what you did. Please accept the thanks of a grateful mother and a lifelong friend." Applebloom hugged the white unicorn tightly. "Of course, but you don't need to thank me. I care a great deal for your son, Rarity. I just need to find a way to tell him that." Rarity set down her chippers and brushed the loose hairs from Applebloom's mane. "I think we're done now. What do you think?" Rarity asked, turning her towards the mirror. "Oh, Rarity, it's perfect. Garnet will love it, I just know it." Applebloom thanked her and ran towards the hospital in time to see Garnet walking out in the front doors with his father. The purple unicorn saw her skid to a stop, creating a cloud of dust that seemed to billow around her. As the dust started to settle, the mare of his dreams was slowly revealed. Her mane no longer hung limp, but was brushed, styled, and slightly curled around her face and down her neck. Her tail was similarly styled and showed off her cutie mark, a shield with an apple blossom filling the center. Her coat was been expertly brushed to hide any remaining scars she had. On her face the fur had been brushed so skillfully the scar that reached from her right eye to her left cheek was only barely visible, and only if you knew where to look. "What are you waiting for? Go to her, son. Make me proud," Spike encouraged his son. "Thanks, Dad." Garnet slowly approached her. "Hello, beautiful. You look different." "Is different good?" she asked a little sheepishly. "No, different is great," he said. Dato popped up from the bushes where he, Honey, Dusk, and Dawn had been hiding. "Oh, come on, kiss her already!" Garnet looked to his left, seeing his friends standing next to some bushes on the side of the hospital. He smiled at Dusk's encouragement. "Well, what are you waiting for?" Dawn asked him. Applebloom didn't wait. He rushed up and kissed the stallion, accompanied by the cheering of her friends. "Come on," she said. "We have a party waiting for you at your home." Seriously? Okay, I liked this chapter. Really, every pony. I liked it. It was great. I was so laughing at some points, and some points really, made my eyes tear up. But there was this one point when Garnet needed magical energy, and it was Applebloom who actually had to be the conduit so Discord was able to channel it into him. Seriously, that remembered me of chapter 3, I think it was, of Luna the Matchmaker, where Luna lost her wings while in a fight with Nightmare Moon in her own mind, and Twilight goes into her mind to save her, calling out, and that is the thing that really got me going, like Celestia, who called out to all the unicorns to give her magic. She called out to her friends so they would come and bring and be the elements of harmony to defeat Nightmare Moon once again. I know that's not what actually happened in this chapter. I know they didn't defeat her with the elements of harmony, but with Twilight going into Angel of Vengeance mode. But seriously, this kind of reminded me of this. Okay, see you soon, stay tuned. Sincerely yours, Visual Pony.